All right, welcome to Two Lost Tuesday night study. I'm going to go over the two trades that I took today. So going into today, I was I didn't have like necessarily a hard draw. Price is just kind of a little stagnant where we're at right now. We have these lows down here. We had some highs up here. I did want to see this London high taken at some point. But coming into today, we took this internal high up here, and then we start pushing down. So as we start pushing down, as you see, we took this internal high. As we start pushing down, I mark off this inverted fair value gap right here. And then I also marked off this change in the state. And to be honest, the entry probably should have been, where is it? So I took the entry here. I'll go over where I did take the entry first. So I took the entry here after I had marked off that M2 change of the state and the fair value gap. Now I could have marked this off as a change of the state, although we didn't invert to this candle anyways. So we do that. We start pushing down immediately, and then we SMT these data lows down here. And right when we SMT'd, it was just blast off. I kind of recognized it while we were on session that I was in the, we might be in the wrong direction. I think we had an M5 fair value gap here. Yep, M5 fair value gap. And I said once that was in place, if we were to invert this, we're probably going to go hit the stop loss. That's exactly what we did. Hindsight, I probably could have just pulled that out early, and instead of giving myself -1R on that, I could have been minus 0.3.5 R instead. But I did just let it ride. I don't like to micromanage my trades too much. I do like to just kind of let the risk, I put on the table, do its thing, and just go from there. But ones like this, where I noticed it after the SMT, I probably could have pulled out of it, but I didn't. So we end up going and we hit stop loss. So one thing I could have done different here is, if I was going to take this sell, instead of taking all the way down here, I could have, I'm going to delete this now since we went over it. I could have taken it right around here. So, boom, we have that inversion. We got that inversion right there. We the state right here. But this was probably the entry I could have had here. I've done a 50-point stop. You're gonna notice something about what I'm about to go over in this session too. So I'll get to it here in a sec. So 50-point stop. That right there probably should have been the move. Taking it down to this close to this data low. Like I said, I don't need it to. I like to have my take profits before the actual like where the liquidity is resting. So like this would have been perfect where I had like 50-50 instead of 100 and 100, had a little bit of a better entry and just ran it. So that was just me not executing as well. Let me get Zeke in here. So that was just me not executing as well. Could have executed this a lot better. It was really just kind of piss poor execution on my part, waiting for almost 100-point drop before getting in. So that was one thing that I wish I did. Instead of taking this 2-minute entry down here, I wish I just kind of recognized what was going on and took this M1 entry right here for 50 and 50, because that would have been +1R right there. Then if I did that, this right here opens up, where we have this SMT right here. SMT gets put in place, and then this would have been an easy buy opportunity. We invert the fair value gap. when I have an SMT like this, especially in an important spot, when price already higher time frame bullish, I don't always need a change in the state, and this is one where wouldn't have needed a change in the state. So this would have been another clean one right here. So under the low of that candle that made the fair value gap, 50, 50. Again, this is hindsight, but I did say on session that once we put that SMT in, if we invert this 5-minute fair value gap, we're probably gonna go take out some highs, and that's what we did. And this would have been if I had taken that first entry where the entry I should have taken, which would have rewarded me 1R, would have been able to take this one as well, which that could have been another 1R right there. But super clean move. You got the SMT at the data lows, invert fair value gap, rise. So then we come to, I'm gonna go over my second entry that I lost on. So if does anyone have questions on those first two? On the one that I actually took that I lost, and then the two trades that I probably should have taken if I executed better. Does anyone have any questions on that?
I have a question.
Ask away.
It's more about how you're feeling about it and what you're taking away after it, because you're looking back at it so soon after you've taken the loss and reflecting on it, and you're finding ways that you could get better. But like, I don't know, how are you dealing with that emotionally, and just like as a person, like how are you just working through that so quickly?
It's just doing the annoying work and figuring out what you did wrong.
Yeah.
I to be honest, I came on the session today pretty tired, and when I'm tired like this, I sometimes don't execute the best. I overthink things, right? And right now I am in I have found myself overthinking a little too much, so I'm kind of battling the hey, stop overthinking, just freaking execute kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this is one where I scaled in the M2, which really should have been in the M1 right here. Like it's so clear seeing it. You get the displacement, comes back, hits 50% of the range, opens up a fair value gap. It dumps down, gives you a change of the state, and then would have went and hit easier target, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that I am doing is and I'm not gonna say this is wrong because I like doing this, but I've been running the 100-point stops, right? 100-point targets just because of how volatile and these crazy swings we've been getting lately in the market. It is time for me to start scaling back down to those 50-point stop loss and take profits, which if I took this on the M1, I could have had.
Yep.
I don't like to change things though like that until I come into a couple losses. So if I'm like cooking, which I have been lately, I don't like to change things like that until I run into a couple losses and the market tells me, okay, hey Zach, change this, and then I'll make that adjustment quick. It's not changing the strategy; it's just a little adjustment, right?
Yeah.
So that like I will counter quick, which is why I'm kind of going over what I should have took, which were 50-point stop loss, 50-point take profits, and then what I did take, which was 100 and 100. Because these 100-point stop loss, I felt like I was in it. Well, with this second trade, I was in it for freaking ever, and I don't like doing that. And stop loss take profits a little too high, but it's just really like going over, reviewing. Like I know what I'm looking for, I know what I'm doing, and it's just going over and making these notes to myself and journaling to myself on what I need to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. And
You took the words from out of my mouth, because I was just mentioning when you wanted to say, when you said 100 point stop loss. I was thinking about it since I was doing the back testing too for a couple of days, and looks like it's happening from the last week, I believe, when there are volatility is a little bit settled in, when we get closer to the equilibrium of the of the total move. It's not those big swings anymore. at least at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, a few weeks ago we had tariffs and stuff going on, which is why we were so volatile. Now we're just kind of
Right.
settling back into the like, normal volatility, and I knew that. I knew like hey, I'm still running 100 point stop loss and take profits. I knew that, but I like the market to tell me, hey, change it. Which it did today. It did today because I would have been able to come up with a couple dubs today if I had changed that today. But going forward, I'll be easing back into my 50s and 50s as opposed to hundreds. Because like even a move like this, right? This one I was talking about right here. Like the highest would be 89. Like if I was to stretch this to 100, like I'm going like over the target, and I don't like to do that. And a lot of times by the time it crosses 50 points, it's usually going to hit stop loss at that point because usually another setup is forming anyways. Let me go over to this second trade real quick. So second trade I took, and you guys saw me put in the Discord. Today will be the last day I'm taking 2 losses on a single session, not in a day, but 2 losses in a single session, or I should say 2R in a single session. So today will be the last time where I do that. If I take a loss in session, I will be forward testing from there, and not taking 2 losses. One, I've just in my journal, I just for some reason after I take that first loss, usually a second loss comes if I take another trade. It's happened the last like 4 or 5 times. So I gotta fix that prior to just keeping on with what I'm doing. I gotta. That's why I'm gonna do one trade. If I lose it, cool. I'm gonna forward test. So that way I'm not taking multiple losses because I'm not even gonna lie. I am human, and I do not like taking going minus 2R in a single session. It's not good for me mentally, and it's something I know about myself that hey, when I take 2 losses in a day like that, that's where things can kind of start spiraling out of control. At least that's where it used to, happen. It was taking losses in bunches like that. So that will be something I will be focusing on. So if I go minus 1R, to start the session, I'll be forward testing from there. But this second trade right here, we end up. So we had hit our stop loss. We came up, but when we came up, we SMT'd. When we SMT'd, we started to get this displacement right here. So what I did was what any reasonable person would have done. I'm just kidding. But I drew I drew a fair value gap right here. We inverted it, waited for the change of the state. We kind of got one right there. Like I wanted to make sure. So we popped back up. We tap into this fair value gap, and then we finally get the change of the state, and that's where I took it. And instantly went up pretty quickly, 42 points. And then we turned around. As you see, it was just back and forth, up, down, going sideways, and then finally get this displacement I'm looking for. And then what do? We come very short of the data lows. We did not even SMT here. We SMT'd it earlier in the day, but when it came lower, it did not SMT this. So ES didn't take out this data low. So we end up just barely missing that data low, and then we just pumped. This was right after lunch. So lunch ended right here on this candle. This green candle was the last candle at lunch, and then once post lunch hit, we had one small, like I don't know, 10 points ish, to the downside, and then from there we just went straight up, and then ended up hitting the stop loss. And again, this was one where let's cherry pick the better entry on this. So this is one where once I have that SMT, if I would have went 50, and I would have went 50.
There it is.
Hold on one second. Not that. So if I would have went 50 and 50, we have a M1 fair value gap right there. Actually, hold on. I think it was on the 32nd I was looking at.
What's crazy is that I'm literally watching a Dodgy video side by side and the exact same setup. It's like completely like a couple months ago is that trade right there when we just went over it.
Which one?
The one with the retrace where we formed that FE the IFVG came back with that retrace and then rejected off a 2-minute FVG.
Yep. Did he take that one too?
No. It's like this was a video 6 months ago, and it's
Oh.
the same formation on the charts.
Yep.
And I just think it's insane.
Yep. So give me 2 seconds. I'm lagging a little bit. Okay, boom. So again, SMT's formed, right? SMT's formed. We got this 30-second fair value gap right here. That's a nice one. We pump up. We have a change in the state inside of it. Change in the state. And then we push through the fair value gap. Yeah, we have one here, but once you get that change in the state, you have the SMT and you have this fair value gap that's getting ran through. That could be the entry right there. And obviously it does come back in the drawdown a little bit. It goes in the drawdown 25 points. If you had a 50-point stop loss, you would have been more than fine. It pulls into this 30-second fair value gap, and then from there, it drops. And that was the first drop that I think I got in way down here. And I was in like 40 points in profit. As you see, this could have been just an easy 50 right here. And that's, again, this would have been the entry right here as opposed to, waiting a little too long, especially when that SMT forms. So when that SMT forms, you're getting displacement like this, you're probably going to push down a little bit. So, setup did form right here. Only difference was I got in a little late, and instead of 50, I had 100 points, and I went about 70 points in the profit just for it to for it to turn around. So that right there would have been the nice entry that I wish I would have taken, but it was just a bad day of execution for me. It happens. I'm human. We're all human. We all have good days, better days, and bad days on the market. So. And then we come down to data low. I'll just go over and see if there's one more PM trade. Yep. Inverse the fair value gap. Take it to this high right here. $50 covers that. If we push through the down here, we're probably going to go lower. If the stop for some reason you just got ready without, just I love to draw some time. But this would have been another great move. So like price really did move pretty decent today and give plenty of opportunities. That's just the difference sometimes of like, are you reading the charts correctly? Are you executing correctly? And I feel like I had a pretty good read on it today. It just might. The execution part was just kind of piss poor. I was just overthinking it, and it just kind of made it a little too hard on myself. So which is fine. I'm okay with it, and just definitely a couple adjustments I got to make. But yeah, I think I just pointed out. I showed the 2 losses I took, and I think I just pointed out 4 A+ entries that could have been had. So yeah, do we have any questions on that?
Was useful.
Let's go. Yeah, my goal is to, going forward, to not overthink things as much. Because I feel like I've been doing that a little too much. Although I have been trading good. Been doing, almost 2 hour a week this year. But even with that, I'm not looking at that as like, okay, cool, I'm comfortable there. Because I've still had some of these days where like I overthought, and most of my losses this year so far have come in bunches. 3 trade losing streak, 4 trade losing streak, 2 in one day today. So a lot of my losses come in bunches, and they come on days like today where I'm overthinking, and I'm just making it a little too hard on myself. Instead of just executing like I know how and like I should. So definitely gonna be something I'm gonna be having my focus on is not overthinking and just executing like a savage, like I know how to do. So today was one of those days where it was probably needed. Like a lot of people hate these these days where they take a couple losses. I don't hate them. They're annoying. Don't get me wrong. They're annoying, but I don't hate them because it shows me something flawed in my trading, and sometimes the only way to see blind spots and flaws in your trading is by taking L's, going back, studying it. Why did I lose that trade? Would I have taken it again? I would have taken both my entries again. Only difference would have been I would have executed a little better. So it may not have been the same exact entry I took. I would have executed better. But both those, I guess not entries, but trade setups, I would have taken both those again. Just better execution. That's it. Because on both of them,
Exactly. Is it also because we had to use a lower time frame where it would have been caught? It's like what we were talking about yesterday, right? You know how you find that like a better entry when we go lower times.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
I took both of my entries today on the M2, and on that first one, if I would have taken the M1, the first M1 entry that it presented, that would have been a banger. And then if I would have taken the 30-second entry on the second trade, that would have won. So yeah, it was just bad execution, just overthinking it. That's what it was today. It was truly just one of those days where I was just kind of overthinking the process. So
Thanks for explaining it, man.
yeah,
It's clear now.
100%. That's why we do these. So I show you guys the mistakes I make as well. Because I know newer traders and traders that are having issues are making mistakes, and it's not bad to make mistakes as long as we're not making like the dumb mistakes, over leveraging, not using stop losses, going on tilt, all that stuff. And today was another day where my trade plan, 2 losses in a day, saves me, so I don't go back in. Because I definitely, as it was happening, I felt myself feeling, that feeling of tilt. Not once did I feel like taking another trade or anything like that, but I felt the feeling of like that beast inside of me that's like, fuck this. We don't take 2 losses in a day. All we do is win. I felt that. And but that's why I have my trading plan and my rules, because it saves me. So it's like, I mean, it wasn't even a thought to take another trade. It's like, cool, I lost my 2 for the day. I'm done. But there'll be days where you execute good, and there'll be days where you execute bad. As long as the good outweighs the bad, that's the main thing. You wanna continuously. Most days you want to execute good. You want to be consistent. Just like in basketball. Everyone in the NBA can hoop. The difference between the Steph Currys and the non-Steph Currys is Steph Curry is consistently playing at that high level. Doesn't mean he doesn't have bad days and off games and things like that, but his good games just outweigh his bad ones by a long shot. And that's the goal in trading, where you'll have those days where you don't execute as good. You take a couple losses, whatever. But it's what is consistently going on? Are you consistently reading the charts right? Is your draw and liquidity that you're looking for consistently being hit? Are you consistently executing good? Are you consistently not going on tilt? Things like that. So it's the consistency part. So today was one of those days where, cool, bad day at the office. But I know going into tomorrow, I know what I did wrong. I know what I need to look for, and tomorrow I'll look to execute the way I know how. And if I take a loss tomorrow, cool, I'll forward test the rest of the day. Do the same thing on Thursday. If I take a loss Thursday and go on a 4-trade losing streak, cool, forward test. But the goal is just to continuously execute at that high level. So, which for the most part I'm doing, but I've definitely had some days like today this year where it's like, okay, cool, bad execution. How can I limit these kind of days? So
The good news is that new camera of yours is absolutely fire.
thanks, dude. Does it look a lot better?
Dude, it's so Exactly. It's ridiculous.
Dope. It was cheap too.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, I think I was looking on YouTube and there was all these like webcams that were like 100, $200, and I think I spent like $45 for this.
Dude,
So
look at Crystal Sitter, dog.
appreciate it. It'll be good for the replays and the content.
I know. That's why I like it.
Heck yeah, let's go. Do we have any questions?
No, I also took a trade on the 2 minutes in the early morning. I'm not early morning, early afternoon, and mine actually was a little bit better entry than yours for the, I guess, the first one, but it didn't hit my target, and it reversed. But I was basically working. I can show you.
Sure.
And it looks like when you went through yours, it looks like I missed the SMT. So let me share my screen.
Absolutely.
Here, you see. So if we do the replay, so this is where I took it right here at that time. So basically, I measured that we took the high in the morning, right?
Yep.
I measured that price leg from this point to the high, and you know, we made this swing high right here. We took that, you know, that low, and 2 minutes fair gap is represented. So
Yep.
the first time I was in the meeting, I didn't take it, and then I saw it bounce out of the VWAP, but and went back to this 2 minutes fair value gap. So this is where I took it, because it didn't invert, you know, 1, 2, 3 times. It didn't even, you know, go to the consequent encouragement of that 2 minutes fair value gap. That's why I was confident that okay, we're going down, at least to the equilibrium. And like you mentioned, like if I put the play button, you see, it did went my way, but it didn't hit few points
Oh, those are the
to the
worst.
equilibrium and reversed. And
Yeah.
I checked it over here, but like you said, I think you said it was SMT or this low. And basically I went back to work, and I only have like 37 points stop loss with the 60 points target. It's not a, you know, it's less, what is it, 1.6
Yeah.
target.
Yeah, those ones.
And this is like at SMT is at the high, but I didn't. I took I recuperate a little bit later that day, but like very small amount, just like scalping right here.
Yeah, those ones hurt.
Yeah, because we were on the high of the day. Hold on. We were SMT so many times, and I went like literally to like micro time to see when we SMT. I took this and quickly just for 36 points back. That's it.
Nice.
You know.
Nice. Let's go. Yeah, it
But
those,
on this one, the problem was that on this one, I went full size. On this one, I reduced my size a lot. So I'm still like 1 hour down, but at least half a point I recuperate.
well, glad you got some of it back. Those ones suck. The ones that, you know, barely misses your TP and then barely wicks you out just to hit TP again. Those suck. But you didn't go on tilt or make any bad decisions.
No,
Good.
that's what I'm saying. I didn't trust this anymore, and I was busy at work. To be honest, I wasn't like watching close enough the charts. So I came back when I saw it's already banging to the high of the day,
Yeah.
and this is actually, I think it's like almost consequent encouragement of the weekly fair value gap right here. I believe this is the consequent encouragement on the weekly fair value gap. I believe so. Yeah, no, on the daily. I'm sorry, not weekly, daily. So yeah, that's why.
Well, glad you got some of it
But
back.
it's okay. It's okay. No, I was actually happy that I didn't go on tilt.
Oh yeah.
Because I actually kind of proud myself that even though uh, I wanted it to scale, but I didn't know what's going on. It's end of day. Last couple days, I noticed that like if we go to this candle, I believe, like 1550, right? If you look at this candle, where is it? I know somewhere it was like displaced big. I think it's 1542, 1540. It starts displacing and jump from here to here, so
Yeah.
that's why I took my 36 points and run. That's it.
Nice. Let's go. Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
Let's go, Boris. Yep. It's the grind. We got good days. We got bad days. As long as our goods
Yeah.
outweigh our bads, man. That is what it's about. Does anyone else have any questions? Anything they want to share?
I'm good for the night. This is great. Thank you.
Cool.
And thanks for sharing.
Yes, sir. Cool. 9:15 tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, going into the day, we got some news. That's next week. What's the date tomorrow? 30th? Yeah, we got a bunch of news. Holy shit. And Trump speaks tomorrow, so we'll have to figure out when that is going on. I assume it'll probably be around this time and not affect us. But we have news pre-session and post-session, so or post-open. So we'll definitely watch out for that. And then after news clears up, we'll execute. So you guys have a blessed night. I'll see y'all at 9:15 Eastern tomorrow. And Amir, what's up, bro? I didn't have a chance to say hi because I was mid-sesh.
No, it's all good, man. I'm glad everybody doing good. It was a good session tonight, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just keep at it, everybody. Shit, I had one move that I had made this week so far. So, just keep the confidence, keep the conviction up. Just keep making sure you're doing what you need to do, to make sure your whole trading plan is panning out.
Yes, sir.
Just stick to the plan, and that's about it.
Yes, sir. Day in, day out, bro. Let's get it. Cool. I'll see y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Let's go. Let's
Later,
finish this
guys.
week strong. Y'all have a blessed night. Let's be great. Peace.
All right.